Hello, you are listening to Between Sets. This is Fuzz
Mike.
Mike. How's it going, bud?
Not bad, mate. Not too bad. You?
Yeah, look, I won't lie. I want to say this first of all. There is fuck all on my list. I've been so busy. I'm really sorry. I know we delayed it by about 24 hours. I probably should have utilised that time.
That's my fault, by the way. I do apologise. Similar to Fuzz last week, it was a day for cars basically. So I was having to get some stuff sorted out, but it's all good now. It's all good. I'm kind of similar, to be honest with you. I have nothing specific on my list. I have a few vague topics, but we tend to
dabble in
anyway. For lack of a better word.
Dabble in every subject there's possible. I'm still trying to get hold of psychic as well. Carry on.
My first point is actually car related to the new car. So in my head, if you were to plug your phone into a car, you have a USB port or a USB-C port, correct?
Yes, understood.
Are there other types of USB port?
There is a USB, is a micro USB.
I wonder if it's that. Because the cable that I have for... I don't know. It just doesn't fit in this car. I might take a picture of it later and send it through to you.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Yeah, I'm curious.
You sure it's not just a cigarette
cable that fits?
Is it the cigarette?
Yeah, very sure. It's got two things. It's a USB 1, USB 2, but it doesn't fit. Like it just doesn't basically. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Just that's something I've been trying to figure out.
All I'm going to think about now in my head. My ADHD brain is going crazy.
I'll take a picture of it for you as soon as we're done after this because I don't want you to suffer. Anyway,
fun times. How's the car? So what car have you got? You're going to announce to the public? You snob.
I mean, I can. It's an Audi e-tron.
Audi e-tron. It sounds so Transformers-like, doesn't it? That
it is great. So we just got back from chopping the old car in, so that's gone now. Do you know what? It's kind of a long story basically, but I had a car previously which was braking significantly, and the car that I've just finished driving was originally my wife's. Bit of a line.
My wife.
But I did not like this car, and I've had it for 3-ish years. It's a manual. It's just not overly comfortable. It's fine. There was nothing overly wrong with it. So just got back from trading that in, and now we're on to
that was We Buy Any Car, wasn't it?
Automatic car as well.
The lazy way of selling cars. The We Buy Any Car. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I mean,
did they knock anything off?
Top tip for anyone. Sorry, say that again.
Did they knock anything off? Sorry, that sounded a bit rude. Did they knock you off, Mike? Because normally when you go there, they'll look for anything and everything to take any payment off possible.
No, I mean, I think it depends on the age of the car. They have certain gradings where they will look. If it's like 3 years old, they'll be a little bit more particular about it. This car's just ticked over to 7 years old, so there was a few bits and pieces, but it's no more than like your standard wear and tear, like the occasional stone chip, a small dent here, and like it's nothing crazy. But top tip to anyone that is happening to be listening, going down that route, I would thoroughly recommend getting a valuation and then just leave it. And then what they'll do, they'll say, we still want to buy your car. They'll send you a new valuation through. And I think I sent you this message yesterday. The valuation for this car went up by about just over $1,000 just for leaving it sitting there for a month. So well worth doing in advance if you're looking to sell a car to all of our.
But do you still think you could have made more money if you sold it privately, or
potentially? But it does come with its own list of aggravations, which by the time you've gone through all of those, it's probably not actually worth the time. Yeah, exactly that. To give you an idea, I've had this valuation sitting there for a month. I made an appointment yesterday evening once this car turned up and sold it today. It's very, very easy.
It is amazing. The service is amazing, to be fair. I remember when I almost wrote a car off once. It was like a Peugeot 206. We're talking 10 plus years ago. Basically, the brakes went and I went into the back of a van. Didn't make any dent in that van, though. So I thought, well, there's no point taking it to the insurance, and is there? Drove it for a couple of months. I knew it was worth nothing because after fixing all the dents, it probably would have been more than what it was worth. And We Buy Any Car allowed me to basically strip it completely, and then they just gave me 50 quid for it. When actually, I was almost going to pay 200 quid just to get rid of it. So it's not too bad.
Scrap it. Oh, yeah, this is the strange thing. So when they say We Buy Any Car, they do genuinely buy any car.
I wouldn't go there with one of those like little trikes, those little mini trike things. What, those little toy cars?
It's a car.
It's a car, though. Test them. Yeah. Why not? That should be one of our TikToks. Maybe we should go there and just drive one of those kids' toys there, see what happens.
I think we may have been beaten to it. Have you heard of the comedian Joe Lycett?
Oh, has he done it? Has he?
He did. I think he did something similar. I'm sure I've seen something similar along those sorts of lines.
I need to watch that. I mean,
I've had an interesting week. I went for a dental checkup.
Oh yeah. I'm assuming it was your father.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but considering the amount of time I'm actually in that place, this is the first one in about a year or so. So it's one of those nervous moments. You sit there and think, "Oh God, here we go. Nothing wrong whatsoever," which is good. But he has recommended I need braces, which I don't want. Yeah,
but that is your dad, though. Of course, he's going to say that. He's going to wind you up.
Yeah, it's little things. No, I mean genuinely, because I had braces when I was younger. I had a whole thing. So basically, as I was, you get your adult teeth coming through. My adult canines may as well have been dog's teeth. Like they were sizable, basically. And as they were coming through, they were making my other teeth loose. They were just too big. I don't know what this was about, but so I had to have surgery to remove those. And the idea was they were going to put orthodontic braces on to close the gaps, as it were, which worked to an extent, but never actually got all the way there. So because now there's gaps, other teeth are doing funny things to compensate. So he's saying,
"Fun times."
I probably need to. The bit that really got me was I said, okay, so fine, let's say I go ahead with that. How long is that going to be? About 3 years.
3 years we went, but can you get like those invisible ones?
Yeah, I mean you can get certain things done, like you get the tooth-coloured brackets, as it were. But
I'm assuming you get like family and friends discount at this point, though. Surely.
Yeah, I don't know if I can be asked. Have you had braces before?
I need something. I need my teeth needed lining big time. I look like a bit like a hillbilly at some point. A different light.
You should have a chat with him. You should have a chat with him. He'll sort something out for you.
I just don't want the expense. It's just mental, the amount of money people have to pay. It's like $3,000 just to basically get a mouth guard that you have to stick in every year, or for like a year or two.
Pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm weighing up now. It's just as and when I want to go ahead with that, really. But if you've never had braces before, it sucks. Like you have so what happens is you have wires tightened to, which is what essentially moves the teeth over time. For about 2 or 3 days after that, you can't really eat solid food. It's honestly, it's like if you remember what it's like to have a loose tooth when you're younger and you bite down hard onto something, it's horrendous. It's painful. It sucks, and I don't want it. But
just smoothies, this
podcast is quickly turning to me just moaning about shit. Yeah, I'll just blend my food basically.
Yummy.
Yeah. So you're watching the football later, are you?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if people want to know what I support or who I support. I don't really want to be ridiculed through social media, so I will leave that.
I have zero opinion on football, so you'll get no judgment from me.
That's why I like you, Mike. That's why I like you.
Yep.
What did you do for Valentine's? Anything apart from get braces?
I mean, that was actually on Valentine's Day as well, to be honest with you.
Romantic.
We both went in for our checkup, which was very exciting, and then we went and bought a toaster. You can't tell me I don't know how to treat the ladies.
Top quality Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
Was it a special toaster?
No, I mean our toaster happened to have broke the day before, so we thought, okay, we'll go and get that, and then we'll pick up some nice, tasty food from M&S. And
some toast. Yeah. Well, you don't buy toast. Yeah. You buy bread. I think that's how it works.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I think I posted on the socials tonight. I was in the middle of a lake. That's my.
I saw that.
Valentine's.
Why?
Why? I think it's a little bit more adventurous than buying a toaster, mate. So don't fucking judge.
No. To be fair, 100% more. I know I'd enjoy more though, than like sitting in a freezing cold puddle.
What, some toast?
Yeah,
Just eating toast in the middle of a lake.
some lovely toast.
Gluten. That's
But
just
there
all
was
the
a hot
gluten.
tub involved. Like, how did that work? They sink the hot tub into the
It's
lake
really good,
then, or
actually.
like
Yeah,
what?
like I'll wait for them to sponsor us. I think before we talk about it, because I'll probably be advertising it. But it's really good. So basically, for
Yeah.
£15 for like an hour and a half, you have
Mm,
access to an outdoor. So I say outdoor. It's obviously a cabin, a sauna,
mm,
but it's like the windows overlook St Andrews Lakes.
right.
Then you've got two hot tubs and a jacuzzi, heated jacuzzi, and then you've obviously got the lake, which you can just plummet yourself into, and it's pretty fucking cold. I won't lie. It's
I can believe that. I can believe that.
but it's really
Ball
nice. It's really
shrivelingly
good.
cold.
Obviously, like some people go on and on about the benefits of plunging into cold waters and stuff, but I just like to do it for like to challenge myself. Do you know what I mean? Getting out of your
Mm,
comfort zone, waking yourself up, putting you through that like uncomfortability, if that's a word. I think that
uncomfortability. I don't think it is, but it
comfortability,
should be.
it should be. That's gonna be the name of the
I
next
don't.
podcast.
To be fair, comfortability isn't a thing either.
No, look,
I'm now
mate.
questioning what actually would the right word be.
No, yeah, but putting you in that situation, putting yourself in a situation where you're not
Yeah.
comfortable, theoretically,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
it does. I think it's good for self development because obviously there's going to be parts in your life where you just gotta fucking man up and deal with it, just like being in the middle of a freezing cold lake.
Can't say man up anymore, dude. Not allowed to do
Sorry,
that.
woman up. Is that also sexist?
I don't care.
Wait, I might just use a thesaurus for that. Actually, I'm going to
No,
quickly do that. I'm going to go on a
go on.
thesaurus and go man up,
Woman up.
man up. What does it come up as? If I get rude photos now,
Do you know what? I mean, in fairness, I think the phrase "man up" needs to probably disappear, but probably not for feminist reasons. More because most men these days are just shit.
I don't think this is right. It's
Go
just
on.
come up with like dad, commandment, commander, leader.
Sorry,
Very
what?
weird.
What?
I know
Dad
that's a
up.
thesaurus. No, that's not right. That can't be right. Man up.
Are you using a thesaurus correctly here?
I don't think I am.
I mean,
Other
this conversation's
words
giving me uncomfortability vibes at the
for
moment.
man up. There we go. Well, there we go. Be a man. That's also sexist. I'd say.
It's Mulan.
Deal
Be
with
a
it.
man.
Deal with it. I guess that's less sexist, but also that being
Yeah.
a synonym.
Yeah.
Hang in. Keep up. Bear the brunt, Mike. Bear the brunt. That's a good
What is the brunt?
podcast name.
Bear
Anyway,
the
we'll move on from
brunt.
that. We move on
Yeah.
from our thesaurus bit of the podcast. That's going to be a new one of ours. What would you like
Let's look
to
up
look up?
different words. Mm.
Anyway, talking about looking stuff up. Did you hear about?
Mm.
Well, you're not really in that sort of remit. You study gym shit, don't you? But a massive
I don't sound too
milestone.
upset by that.
A
No,
massive
go on.
milestone in AI
Right.
technology happened on Thursday. Did you hear about
Right.
this? It was in the news. Well, it
No.
was in my news anyway.
Right.
So basically, you can now create a 60-second clip, a video,
Mm.
by just typing in words, and the realism is absolutely crazy. I'll let you look it up
And
if you are.
this is accessible, is it? Like
Oh yeah,
people can just
this
do
is
this.
accessible. Yep. I forgot the name of I forgot the name of the company now. But basically, it's just AI, right? So you can can literally just type in. Obviously, you can't type in yourself. So videographers and stuff are like they're worried, but actually, like if you're going to be advertising a business, like as you say, the system in the background is not going to know what the business logo is or image is. But obviously, we're not going to be that far from it. Like you just
No,
put in. You
that's an
can upload
easy
a
step,
photo.
surely.
Yeah, you can just upload a
Yeah.
photo of what you look like, and but it's absolutely unreal. The realism is just crazy. The way that it understands like the shadowing and lighting effects, and just the mechanism the mechanics of people walking and running. It's just unreal, absolutely unreal. I think it's gonna change even video games, I reckon.
Oh, well, I would hope so, to be fair, because you're then essentially getting something that's procedurally generated. Do you ever play those games where they're decision based? There was something for the PS4 a little while ago where the choices you make, it's like a horror movie sort of game, but you
Yeah,
make the
I know what you're on
choices
about.
of, I can't remember what it's called, but that was a really,
Until
really good game.
Dawn.
That could be it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to survive until daylight, obviously. But just imagine that. Imagine, obviously that's very scripted. Like if you do A, you go down this route. If you go down
yeah,
B, like the old school decision tree sorts of games. But if you've got something where it can generate video and therefore potentially, like
yeah.
if you
And it's a
get
different
it to
outcome
operate
every time,
within a
even though you
graphics
choose the
engine,
same question or change the same answer.
yeah,
It's a different outcome based on
that is.
whatever. It is unreal.
I
Like
mean,
AI is
it could
already
be
heavily
insane.
used in marketing. So obviously, I've been doing a lot of studying with digital marketing and engaging with your consumers through, well, digitally, obviously.
Mm.
And it's crazy how AI now automates responses, but it's all variant. Like it's just so different, and there's no pattern to it either. So like your comment on a business, for example, and if they've turned on this AI function, then you'll have an instant response, and it'll be different to the person to other people. Because if you read the commentary,
Wow.
all the responses are
Yeah.
different, but it's still automated, it's still AI, and it just feels like you're having a
Mm.
conversation with the business, but actually you're not. But
That's
people are going to
crazy.
catch on to that. People, especially if they're responding instantly, you know it's not going to be real. Like
Yeah.
you want to speak to a
But
real
then
person.
an alternative to that, you add a delay to it. That's very straightforward. Or
Yeah,
you put people into a queue, and it's a queue of like 1 to 2 people, whatever it happens to be. They can wait 5 minutes, and then
yeah. I think as consumers,
it's
we're
going to
now going to
happen.
have to develop functions that asks the company if they're a robot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you tell me where the bike is, please? Like, select the cells where the
yeah.
traffic lights are.
I swear those things like think I am actually a robot because I can't get some of those sometimes.
No, it's because
I'll
you're a
click on
retard, mate.
everything. I
Can we
think,
say that?
yeah,
I don't think we can
yeah,
say that either.
yeah.
You're just a little bit special, Mike. Maybe
That's
you
fair.
are a robot. Maybe you are.
Machine is the word you're after.
That's the word, yeah. Cybernetic organism.
Oh,
But yeah, that is
gee.
literally the one thing on my list was to talk about that again. I feel like we bring up AI quite a lot on this podcast, but
I mean, that's
it's
not a
played a
bad
big
thing
part in
though,
my
because
life
I
now.
have no understanding of it, and you're big into it. So
Yeah,
it's.
I
So
wouldn't
I
say
mean,
big
I
into
actually
it.
saw I saw a question posed in a video the other day, and I'm gonna pitch you the same question. I'm sort of hoping that you haven't seen this. So the first, I'm gonna try and pitch this so you can kind of follow through this because the guy who's for lack almost like a TED talk, a presentation essentially. He's a very eloquent, intelligent bloke, and I'm not. Um, so step by step, let's assume that you don't speak any language, right? Which is the language that you would learn? That's the first question I would
I
ask.
wouldn't even be able to answer you that. I wouldn't even be able to answer that question because I don't know how to speak any
No,
language.
correct. But hypothetically, let's say you're a blank slate. You can pick any language and you're fluent in that language. Which one would you go for?
Most popular in the world, England. English,
Mhm.
right? Is
Yeah,
English? Is
yeah.
English? Yeah, it is. Isn't
So, and this is where people fall down because they tend to choose the language that is the spoken by the most number of people when they're asked this question. Either will go Chinese, one of the dialects. So you got
it?
Cantonese
Yeah,
and I think Mandarin. Um, and then it would be Spanish is after that in terms of the number of people that speak those languages. Um, but it comes down to choice architecture. Yes, that is technically true. The most people do speak those questions, but English is the most widely spoken, i.e., spoken most widely across the world, either as a first or a second language. Okay, so the next question then is how we form choices based on that premise. Okay, so we know that English is the most widely spoken question. Which would be the second? So we know that loads of other countries, they're much better than us as English speakers in learning other languages, right?
mm.
So if you could choose a second language now, which would you choose and why? There's no correct answer for this one, by the way. I'm just interested in the logic behind it.
This is one of those questions that you'd ask as like an interview, just to see their logic behind it.
Yeah.
I think it would be Mandarin, to be honest.
Okay. And what's the reasoning behind that?
I think it's just to freak people out because obviously, you look at me, you don't go, this guy can speak Mandarin. Imagine, like, if there was a guy, I'm not sure if you've seen him on YouTube, but there's a guy that actually goes
I
to
have.
Chinese restaurants and he'll speak full on American English, and then all of a sudden he just switches, and it's just like, how are you even using your mouth that way? Because there is a very weird. There's a lot of like tongue work in that.
Yeah, well, 100%. There's syllables in their language that we just don't have any equivalent for. You just have to learn that essentially. I know exactly what you mean. So he's a polyglot. Have you seen him? He's done some other videos where he goes.
He's like an alien.
Polyglot.
That sounds like an alien.
But he will go to like tribes in Africa who, like, it's very, that language is very specific. Like, it's like 100 people in the world that speak this language. He'll find someone that can teach him that, and then he'll go and like speak after like a few weeks of learning, because he's learned how to learn that language. But it's just interesting, like people's choice logic and like how they structure their choices essentially. Because let's say, for example, okay, let's say you choose your second language as Dutch for whatever reason. Well, the only there's a definite limitation to that, because Dutch people speak incredibly good English. For all intents and purposes, they are fluent essentially, and it's the same with a lot of Scandinavian countries. Let's use German as an example because it's a slightly large country. Okay, well, for you to justify learning German as your second language, you would have to learn to speak German better than the average German person can actually speak English, because otherwise it's redundant. You might as well have your conversation in English. In the same way that Swedish and Norwegian people they'll both learn English, but they're not going to learn Swedish and Norwegian as well. They would learn their native language, Swedish, and they'd actually communicate in English, because, believe it or not, Norwegian, Finnish, and Swedish are actually quite different, despite the fact they're neighboring countries, in the same way that ours is very different to French. So I think my choice would actually then be Spanish, purely because it's the second most broadly spoken language in the world. Yes, there's a lot of people that speak it, but it's spoken the most in other countries as well. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think in a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, if you go to South America, for example, English isn't as well taught there either.
So we did go through a phase during COVID of learning Spanish, but then we had a bit of a wake-up call. We were thinking, like, if we're going to learn a different language, why would you learn Spanish really just to go on holiday and feel like you're one of them for 2 days, when it'd be more beneficial to learn sign language? Because obviously,
for sure,
that has a lot more limitations to it. Like, you can't, deaf people will not understand you no matter what country they're in. So we did start learning sign language during COVID, and then kind of gave up, as normal people do. But it's definitely on our bucket list is to learn sign language. Like, one of Ted's close friends is deaf, and obviously being born deaf probably is an easier thing, I would say. It's probably a debate than being deaf like midway through your life, because obviously you've learned how to cope with it. But the technology nowadays, the way that they can like implant things in your brain and your ears and stuff, it's just unbelievable.
I think they're called cochlear implants, essentially, which, for all intents and purposes, it bypasses the ear, essentially. It acts as a new eardrum, just sat
amazing
in around the skull, essentially. Operates on the same. Have you ever had that test done at the doctors, where they will they'll have a tuning fork, and they'll bang the tuning fork so it's making noise, and they'll put it behind your ear, so on the bony part, and then they'll go this way. So the only limitation of a cochlear implant is our ears operate better via air conduction of sound rather than via bone, because of densities and stuff like that. That's the only limitation. So I don't know how that works. I'd imagine it just picks it up and amplifies it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, God knows. But obviously there's a lot of limitations there with the battery and like, obviously she's 2, so when you're tracing her through, this is the toddler we're talking about, tracing her through like a soft play area, obviously it's likely to fall off and because it's just on the magnetically. It's unbelievable how it all works.
Really?
Yeah, it's a magnet in her head.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Magneto.
I mean, technology, it really does astound me. Like, I think you're better informed, but you get children that they see something for the first time and their eyes go, "Oh, wow, this is amazing." I still get that regularly with just like mundane tech stuff that I didn't know could actually work.
The thing is, because obviously I don't study it, but I look at a lot of very modern technology. Like we're talking like see-through TVs and stuff like that. Like there's an AI camera that was built last year, I think, when the project kind of finished. It was a camera, has no lens to it whatsoever. It's just a device. You point it at a certain direction, it uses AI to tell you to basically show you a photo. So it uses like exactly. So it uses like GPS and just technology, just like AI to basically go right. Like it knows what day and time it is. It knows like how busy it would be in the area. So if there's traffic, it will know like basically just loads of data and produce a photo.
Wow.
That's blown your mind now, isn't it?
It's not a camera then, essentially. Oh, Jesus, here we go.
Well, this is it.
Sorry.
What's happened? Oh, the cat. Every episode. It seems to be like 25 minutes in as well. It happens.
I'm just trying to make sure she's not going to pull anything out this time because it really ballsed up the sound on the last one.
Mate, I have to edit that.
Is really... That's not...
it's not needed. Camera, it's just not needed, is it? I don't know why they invented it. Like, the cameras exist. Why bother?
That's a because we can sort of situation, isn't it, really? So that's essentially like, it's a geotagged screen.
Yeah.
Essentially, with some input.
But that is definitely the first step of... Because obviously, as like we've kind of not cured deafness, obviously, but we've definitely helped deaf people and to improve their hearing, right? Using technology.
Yeah.
We've not got there really with the blind, right? This is definitely the first step to that. Like obviously with Elon Musk being able to chip brains, the next step would be to basically tell the brain what they're seeing using AI. But not really using AI. There's probably like a lens on their forehead, couldn't they? Or something.
If you come
like
back down to if you come down to the augmented reality that you were looking at before, so where you've got the goggles on, you can see your hands moving in front of you. So, but everything's kind of an overlay essentially. It wouldn't be a stretch to have sensors on your hands and to feed that imagery back in. So then even the image, it's not an image just externally, it's an image of yourself. Like you can, for what I'm currently seeing essentially.
It is crazy, isn't it? It's unbelievable where technology is going. It's kind of scary. Like I just want to, I want to live forever just to see where it goes. You know what I mean? That's what I'm curious about. Like if we're capable of this, like bearing in mind when we were born, right? Internet didn't exist. Internet did not exist.
We're old for guys and girls who can't see us. We are fucking ancient.
My voice might be smooth, but we're not ancient, mate. I wouldn't say that. So obviously then we had dial-up, and I'm not sure what your sort of experiences were with dial-up. But
sucking shit. Someone would phone the house and the internet would just die.
But bearing in mind, so let's just say, right, we're 32, yeah, right. In the last 32 years, so much has happened technology-wise. Imagine if you could double that. Like, I doubt it. It will happen, right? But imagine if you doubled that. So, in the next 32 years, God knows what could happen. That's unreal.
I mean, the thing is that the rate of change for technology is not even a straight line. We're on the exponential. It's increasing just so fast.
It definitely leveled out though. It leveled out a bit over the last, like about 5 years ago. It started to level out.
Touchscreens. We got touchscreens, and I feel like that's the
like
kind of
every iPhone's been the same in the last 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw a little video based on generational differences. I can't remember all of them, but for example, if you had to mime to someone you're answering a phone, what would you do?
So again, you have to mime.
If you had to mime to someone, like in charades, that you were answering a phone, what would you do?
Are we miming on a podcast? This is the first.
Yeah, I know. This doesn't apply.
Play along, guys.
I want to give I'm gonna give a really good audio description. Don't you worry.
So mime to someone to pick up the phone.
Yeah, to answer a phone call, to make a phone call.
I think I know where you're
What would
going
you
with
do?
this because of our
What
age
would be your hand
difference.
gesture?
So obviously it would be that, but people wouldn't know what that is.
No, so there's, I think from the age of like 10, for example, this kid was basically like, they had them on either side of the door, and the dad was basically on like this, holding the thumb up to the ear and the pinky finger to the mouth, like, simulating old school phone. But the kid was just this. Yeah, it's just, and there was quite a few of those. There was a lot of those types of things.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just feel like, it's a generational thing.
This is an interesting one, actually, and I think we had spoke about this briefly before about handwriting. When they said, "Oh, if you had to write a letter," the dad obviously went like this, and the kid just was tapping on a laptop.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
You'd say that, but what's weird is that they're still doing writing. I think at school, surely. Or I wouldn't know because my kid's not at school yet, but they're still surely doing handwriting. I don't know when.
They are.
If that'll ever stop.
I think. I mean, there is a bit of technology where it's essentially a digital notepad now, but it feels like paper.
Yeah,
that seems just quite useful
to me. Like, I'm not sure if it's because of my line of work, but handwriting to me at this day and age isn't a educational thing now. It's more of a graphic design. It's more of an art piece, really. Because like people only really write stuff for in my line of work anyway for graphic design purposes, for posters or for drawing, rather than actually trying to get a message across. Do you know what I mean?
You still need to read, though, I suppose. You still need to read, and an extension of that is knowing how to write, because you need to be able to form sentences as well.
But you can obviously use computers for that, but you also need to know what the letters are. I think writing the letters will kind of imprint your brain a bit better with how to, what an A looks like, or
repetition. I feel like that would be a very, very large step for education to suddenly go, we're not going to teach you how to write anymore.
Yeah, it'll be years and years away.
Yeah, I don't know when that would be or what would need to happen to get there, but certainly be interesting.
It's just scary, isn't it? And the thing is, like, AI can, like, you wouldn't even need Microsoft Word anymore, almost, like, because AI can just literally form sentences for you.
So I don't use Microsoft Word because I don't believe in paying for software that has been around and unchanged for decades at this point. But there is an alternative that I use, and it has AI as a function there.
Oh, really?
So you essentially start
you're not going to let us know what the alternative is? Is it illegal?
Yeah, this thing's called WPS basically. But
okay. Yeah.
It's completely free. It does the job. But you start with an @ and you ask AI a question. It'll populate everything for you. As long as you've got an internet connection, it'll just populate.
It's unreal. It's the same with graphic design. You can just change things so easily. It recognizes a background to an image. It recognizes what the main subject is, and you can just type in like put glasses on my head or whatever, and it will just. You haven't got to draw anything anymore. Like you still have to like define it because AI isn't perfect, and I don't know if it'll ever be perfect. To be honest with you, like when these if you look it up later, if you look at these videos, like there's somebody's typed in basically like a beautiful woman wearing red in Tokyo, walking through the high streets, blah blah blah, right? And there's like loads of people in the background, and you'll get the odd guy just floating in the air, just walking in the air, but you don't notice it unless you're looking out for it. Unless you know it's AI, then it becomes obvious. It's a bit like if you look on my website, the photos, if you weren't looking properly, they're just normal photos. But actually, most of the photos on my website are created by AI. I can't even say it. By AI. There we go.
What's interesting there, though, is when you say it'll never be perfect, we actually need to define what is perfect, because it's made by people.
Yeah, but perfect is basically real. Like what I'm saying, it will never be like 100% comparable to a realistic video.
I thought you meant in terms of you have to have a specific input for that AI to understand what you're doing and get your desired thing out of it, because that's going to vary from person to person as well.
Yeah. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, for it to be like, 100% comparable. because obviously you've got lighting effects, you've got the mechanics, you've got just anything and everything. Because the thing is as well is that it's creating these images and videos quite quickly. Bearing in mind when we were dial up, do you remember just loading an image from the internet would take yonks? Like God knows how people wanked back then, because that would have been a very long time.
Imagination. I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation now and forming a podcast to sit on the internet for people to view in itself is, if you go back 30 odd years, is unheard of. Like, it just wasn't a thing. Like, even when video calls originally became a thing for phones, they were so expensive per minute. It was a novelty. Like, we were from the days where you had to pay per text message, where you had X amount of minutes you could use.
The thing is, people still do that. I don't realise, and I feel like I'm going to come across quite snobby now, but I did go to the shops the other day, and somebody asked for credit, and I'm like, I can't remember the last time I heard those words. Like, can I get some credit on my phone? But obviously, people still doing it. I'm assuming they're probably drug dealers. I won't lie, because like the price of contracts nowadays, like my work phone, it's got like 10 gigabytes. It's got unlimited text, unlimited calls. I'm paying less than £5 a month. Less than £5 a month. Surely that's cheaper than getting credit on your phone.
What are you paying that credit for? To have texts and minutes?
I'm assuming so. I think surely nowadays it's just for data, because I'm pretty confident texts and calls are all free now, no matter what network you're on.
I would assume so.
They still advertise it as unlimited calls, but
I mean, data definitely seems to be going that way, because every time that I've kind of renewed a phone contract, which I don't do often, I tend to get a phone and hold on to it until it dies, essentially. The data I'm getting for the same price is just becoming more and more, to the point where I'm up to like 20 to 30 gig. Unless I'm sitting there streaming videos all day, every day, I'm not getting through it. There's no way on earth.
I normally get, like, just for my peace of mind, I normally just get unlimited, because it's not that badly priced. But also you can use your phone then as a hotspot when you're like abroad or on holiday, and not have to worry about extra expense.
Well, for you, I feel like that'd be valid as well. Eventually, when you're out and about more, you can hotspot for your laptop and do some work while you're waiting for whatever else.
But 5G as well, like, but bearing in mind, we live in a village where we haven't even got 5G or 4G or 3G yet. Like we've not actually ever had any signal in this village. We've finally got 5G coming, like within. Well, it's the mast's up, but they're just having to make it go live.
Right.
But that's going to blow everyone away.
Couldn't find the driver yesterday. His sat nav. He was walking to the train station. I don't know where I'm going. Just that way.
Oh really?
Yep. Zero signal. I was half expecting him to. I was teeing myself up, waiting for him to ask, and I'm just no, I've got stuff to do. Leave me alone.
That's hilarious. Yeah. See, I'm much nicer than you are. I didn't just drive her to the train station. I drove her where she needed to go.
Oh no, seriously, I am a callous bastard.
I just believe in karma, man. I'm just like, I'm waiting for that good thing to happen from it, though. I won't lie.
The thing is, I do help people as well in my realm of work, I suppose.
Yeah, but you get paid for it, so that's the karma side. Like, you get paid.
He gets paid for walking to the train station. So
yeah,
let's.
But that thing, I'm not sure if we discussed it in the previous episode. But so these guys, like, there's a job for everyone, and there's a job for everything. But I didn't realize there's a whole line of self-employed work, basically, to pick up a car from a garage, drive it to you, and then somehow make their way back home again. Like, I'm assuming, like, it's not highly paid, but I'm assuming it's quite a good deal, really. Especially if you're going to be heading that way anyway. It's basically the opposite of Uber.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, I think you'd have to charge for your travel expenses plus whatever your daily rate is, I suppose. I don't know what that daily rate would be, because it's quite a lot of faff. And you also have no idea how long your day is actually going to be based on public transport.
But this is what the sort of day and age we live in. Like, if you offer work, like, there's so many apps out there. Like, if, for instance, Check a Trade, I'm assuming it's very similar, where like you will basically just put on there, this is what I need doing. You'll have like 4 or 5 mechanics or whatever, or plumbers or whatever obviously needs doing. contact you and go, I can do it this for this, I can do it for this, I can do it for this, and you just choose one based on one, how much they are, and two, their rating and review. And that's the bad thing about when you're starting as a new business or a sole trader now is like you've got no reviews to go by. So it's really important to try and build that up. And a lot of people obviously have to do free work whilst they're starting a business just to get those reviews. But yeah, it's a struggle. But this is it. Like, and then you end up having to lower your charges to a point where you actually don't even profit, but just to get that job.
Yeah, I think you have to be quite stubborn with that as well, because I've said this to you before. If you charge less, people actually question why are you charging less. There's a very fine line to tread there, because they will automatically assume by pricing yourself lower that your work is of a lower quality.
Yeah. Have you heard of Fiverr?
Fiverr,
yeah. So I'm looking into that currently to see whether it would be beneficial to Fuzzy Logic. But it's the same. It's exactly the same concept. You're literally bidding for work, and I'm like, I don't want to be like almost basically begging for work in a way. And I, you know, exactly. You're almost setting your own brand up with that sort of perception. And I'm like, no, like my work is of a high quality. If you want to use me, come and find me, bitch. Do you know what I mean? I'm not on Fiverr.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a slower build, but I think it is worthwhile doing it that way. From my experience, that's always been the way that I've gone with personal training, and I'm doing the same thing at the moment with sports massage. Admittedly, as you know, I'm putting more in terms of advertisements. I'm deliberately trying not to overdo it. But I think you need to let people find you, and then
it's that word of mouth.
People
the
will
services, especially
why that is. Yeah.
For product is different. Product is different because you can advertise a product and you can tell the audience exactly what it does. But when it comes to services, it's a personal touch. You are quite reliant on word of mouth because you trust somebody to recommend them, and that's where it starts. And that's where I'm struggling with at the minute. I'm like, obviously, I've had to do quite a bit of free work. I've had to go to loads of networking events to sell myself, and it's going to be like that for the next few months. And I'm fully signed up to that. That's what I signed up for. But then it's after that. It's like now find some sort of sustainability in life rather than selling yourself like a man on the street.
I mean, I was on that subject. I mean, I've tried to send two people across to you this past week, actually. One of which was, or both my clients. One, she was describing how she does some bookkeeping stuff, and as she was describing it, you just popped into my head. It's like, this is not how this should be being done. There's I don't know what it is, but there is definitely a much easier way of going about this. Because if I can hear something and know that it's convoluted from a tech perspective, you definitely will. You know, 100% there's an easier way. So I'm hoping she'll get in contact with you. The other one is graphics work, and that's based on the fact that you charge for like those little blocks. Again, on the basis of you can work a lot faster than most other people, so that could in itself work as well.
Yeah, and that's what you get.
That would be sustainable.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate you recommending me. It's one of those things that obviously Fuzzy Logic is so unique because it's offering like graphic design and then bookkeeping. Like, who does that? But I'm literally just offering services of what I've been working for the last 15 to 20 years. It's just like I've been doing it for so long. I know how to do all that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why not support you with that? Like, of course, I probably don't 100%. Specialize in bookkeeping, but I know exactly how you should be doing it, and I can provide you with the training or whatever. Like, yeah, it's one of those things. I literally got off a call today about somebody wanted a website. And it's one of those things like you don't want to sell yourself so much. You don't want to go, okay, I understand you need a website. Do you also need this? Do you also need that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, but also like what I'm trying to explain to people is like a websites nowadays, they're just a face of your business and people aren't utilizing it. When actually a website can be so much more. You can almost create it into an app for your employees, for your staff. That's like what I've done with my website. It's like you have a dashboard. You can raise jobs through that website. It's not just a contact me page and a picture of me. Otherwise, you might as well just have Facebook. So I'm going to go off on one now, Mike. You've got me started.
No, 100%. I completely agree. I mean, in terms of how you go about selling yourself, there's a bit of, I'm not going to use the word trickery, but it is to an extent. So in the same way that if I'm speaking to a new client for the first time, I'll ask them questions about their lifestyle, right? And sure enough, you will get onto the topic of, oh, so what's your diet like? How much alcohol are you drinking? Oh, okay, so nutrition could definitely help you along the way in terms of your goals. And then suddenly, oh, that's something I offer. Yeah, cool. Oh, if you're training hard, well, I also do sports massages to keep you ticking over. And you see what I mean?
Yeah. It's
You do
natural
some
though, isn't it?
background,
I'd say.
100%. Yeah. And that's how it needs to come across as well. I think you need to kind
Yeah.
of ask some specific questions about how the business operates. So just because if we're building this website, it makes sense to offer these functions. Oh, by the way, if we're doing this, we could also do this. Yeah, that's something I can do. It should flow organically, I think.
100%. It can be quite overwhelming for people that don't understand exactly what you're talking about. Like, obviously, they understand what you're talking about from like an end goal perspective, but putting it all together, they're like a bit blown away by it. So I've just been so right. Let's get this website sorted first, and then we'll focus on this system. But what you get a lot of the time, especially with businessmen, is they're really good at selling, and by that, what I mean is they do not shut the fuck up, and they will convince you in every single way possible that you need this product when actually you know you don't, and they won't let you walk away until you've actually paid for the service or the subscription or the product or whatever it is, and then they're done. They've done their bit. But actually, if they gave you time, you'd realize they're just talking absolute fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to give people time to think about it, because then you become one of them. And like, you're not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to make money. People like you are as well. You're not doing it to make money. You're doing it to actually make people fit and strong and be happy.
Yep.
Otherwise, you'll just take the money and
very
run.
conscious. I'm very
me.
conscious that. So I actually turned somebody away yesterday for sports massage because they were describing an issue. And do you think I'll benefit from this? And I said, honestly, no. To be honest, you just need to actually build some stability around this area, and you'll get far more benefit. And I told them exactly what they need to do. They'll get far more benefit from doing that than me loosening their back up, essentially. No, you build up a bit of core stability and the back fix itself. I think you need to almost be the opposite of a salesman and say, no, genuinely, this is what's going to be better for you. Jesus, cat.
Yeah.
And I think people appreciate that, and they'll kind of bear that in mind in the future. I think just being as genuine as you can generally helps your business in the long term.
Yeah, it's the long term. It is the long term, because obviously at first you can just start selling stuff and making money, and then you'll realize that people aren't going to trust you anymore, and then you have to create a completely different business or whatever. Oh God, I've got a cough now. I've been talking so much. Sorry. It looked like your microphone had ears earlier. That was so funny. Sorry, it distracted me. The way that your cat was.
She just kind of sprawls herself across me, essentially, and just
What, your cat?
Well, they've heard something in the gardens now, just being arses. Oh dear.
What's going on? What do you say?
They're being arses because they've seen something in the garden.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
They're just being a bit weird. You know how dogs kind of perk their ears up and start barking for no real reason. Similar kind of thing with cats. They'll just springboard off your bollocks.
Okay. Good to know. There was I think I've done my list. It was just the one thing on my list. I might have to.
I had one thing about languages, mate.
How was it? Not bad for 48 minutes of talking, eh?
If the listeners have any particular type of guest they would like to hear from, or just to hear us have a chat with, basically, I'd be very interested to know what type of person that they'd like us to hear talking to. You know?
The main question is, why do you even listen to us in the first place? You know what I mean? What are you looking for?
Don't pull on that thread.
Inspiration?
Dude. No. Ignore that. Listen to us. Continue listening. Don't pull up. Don't open that can of worms. Jesus.
No, but no, it's true though. The reason why I listen to podcasts is just to distract myself from life for like half an hour. I won't lie. But there's obviously podcasts out there that, if you're looking for inspiration or motivation, or I feel like we're a bit of everything, a little bit of sprinkles of everything.
And certainly some stuff. I mean, I think a lot of people have actually started really enjoying it, just in terms of the length of the episodes. It's a dog walk, it's a commute, it's a drive time sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's from the feedback that I've heard from speaking to people. They seem to enjoy listening to our dulcet tones in the car.
My smooth voice. Nice, good to hear. Good to get some feedback. I feel like you're getting all the feedback. I'm not really getting anything.
I speak to people, dude.
Yeah, I need to start doing that. How do you do that again?
Yeah. I harass people in the gym, and then it kind of stems from there, really.
We need to get. Oh, that's on my list of stuff to do this week. We'll get a Between Sets Facebook page sorted as well. I know a lot of people don't like Insta, or people stick to this one social
Facebook.
media. Do you?
I have a Facebook business page set up for my PT, and I hate everything about it. I hate the fact that it comes up with notifications telling me there's people waiting to hear back from me when I've already messaged them back.
Oh,
it's awkward. It's clunky. My newsfeed is full of shit. I don't like it.
But they're owned by the same company.
I know, but Facebook is clunky and horrible, and it's not a fan.
But you got to widen your audience, Mike. Okay, you got to be open-minded.
I know, and I'm doing that. I'm just begrudgingly, very much begrudgingly.
Right. Well, I think people are coming to the end of their dog walk now. If that's what's happening.
Pick up that dog shit.
Yeah. Oh, guys. Oh, that does my nut in, by the way, especially as a dog owner.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And the thing is, the village Facebook, every day someone complains about someone not picking up the dog shit. You shouldn't own a dog. You shouldn't own a dog if you're not picking up their shit. Simple as that.
Yeah. The one time I think it's okay to not pick up dog shit is if it's hosable. Like if there's going to be a large amount of rain, it's going to wash away.
Yeah.
You know,
if you can't pick it up, theoretically.
Yeah.
Then it's
fair
impossible. Enough. We potentially could have a guest next week. I'm sorting it out. We did have it confirmed. I need to sort that out.
Yep. I've potentially got a guest for the following week as well, so that'll be good.
Nice. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
I think I'm also going to drag you to Airsoft. I've decided.
Okay. What? Okay.
Because I think that's going to give us plenty to talk about. That'll be funny.
It's just like the Airsoft side of it. Like it interests me, but it's the investment that you were hoping me to put in, like having to buy shit, and I'm like, I'm only going to use it once.
I've got a gun you can borrow. It's fine. It'll be good. It'll be very entertaining for me.
Yeah, this is it. The thing is, I play a lot of video games, right? Not to say a lot. I don't know fucking time to wipe my ass now, to be honest with you. But I definitely prioritize that over video games, don't worry. But obviously, I've been a massive gamer my whole life, and I take FPS stuff really, really seriously. And I'm just worried that I'll go in as Fuzz, and then during it, you'll just see me as like Rambo. I'll have those lines. I'll be fully camoed up. And I'll be like, I'll have a cigar will come out of nowhere. I'll just be like, say hello to my little friend, and I'll be proper.
I mean, you can get explosives as well, so that's always good fun.
Yeah, that's next level. I'm not getting involved with that, mate, because things are going to get nasty.
So what we're going to do? We're going to have early March. We're going to have our first between sets outing.
Are we?
I know there's some listeners that will be going as well, so we'll get them involved, and it's going to be good fun.
Okay, it's the first time out of this. You're broadcasting this to the audience at the same time as I'm learning.
It's fine. Yeah, I've just decided it, so I'm broadcasting this now, so it's on the internet now, so it's definitely happening.
Okay, fair dues. All right, time to die. Right, cool. Looking forward to it. We could even do a podcast during. Does that work? Is that going to be the first ever podcast during an Airsoft? So you just randomly hear, "Ow, you fucker!"
Depends how much you really value your camera lenses, to be honest with you, because they will get shot out.
That's true. Yeah, all right.
I bought a £70 scope to go on my gun.
It's a heavy scope. Jesus Christ! I'm joking. I know what you're on about.
The very first game, and I'm not joking. The first 5 minutes, it got shot out. B went straight through the lens and shattered it. Yeah, that was nice.
Surely that's got to have a guarantee on it, though. No. You can return that. No, mate.
No.
That's mental. Anyway.
Does not work the same way as tech. Yeah, anyway.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. Guest or guestless, either way. But be prepared. We're going to have a load of good guests on. We've been working hard. All right. Please, as always, follow us if you don't already. Subscribe on YouTube. Share. Like, the first person that can share us, you just fucking share us, mate, and then I'll consider giving you a mug. We've got a mug sitting around somewhere. You can have a between sets mug. But it is greatly appreciated. Obviously, half the reason why we're getting guests on is to broaden our audience a little bit. And then our goal is to be monetized by summer, I'd say.
Yeah, I reckon so. We're probably sponsored by Huel, like every other fucking
sponsored
podcast.
by Huel. Yeah, that's our goal. To be sponsored by Huel.
Yeah.
We could at least be sponsored by some sort of airsoft place, surely. After today's episode.
I don't think there is any airsoft podcast, Just saying.
You know,
I mean, I'm not searched.
No. But there's a podcast for fucking everything. There really is, mate.
Yeah.
Like, it was Dungeons and Dragons 50-year anniversary this week. There's so many podcasts about Dungeons and Dragons. It's unreal. They might as well just call it the Virgins.
I mean, you say this. I say this as an airsofter. There is some serious anoraks about the place. Like when people start talking about, I'm going to increase the FPS on my gun by this much. But seriously, it's got
this
an
is
audience.
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah. Nah, we won't be like that.
Okay.
I'm the cool guy. I'm the cool guy at airsoft.
With a broken scope.
My wife just looked at me like, oh, God.
Your wife's there. Your wife's been listening this entire time.
She honestly, no, she hasn't. She's been in another room. She's just walked past as I'm saying that. She timed it perfectly.
She's questioning her life right now as we speak.
I'm married. She made that choice.
Yeah. Well,
and it's legally binding now.
Right. Yes. We'll see you guys next week. All right. Like, subscribe, follow, do what you can to grow our podcast. Really appreciate it. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye-bye.